Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a little bit about my last week in games. Let's start with some EVE Online. I probably played a little bit less than average EVE Online. The reason for that is that I played a decent amount of Overwatch with Orisa coming out last week, but I still managed to do my regular stuff, so a little bit of mining. I also did the blueprint copy business, which is going decently well. It's switching a little bit, so yeah, it's pretty volatile at the moment. For instance, the Raitaro blueprint is back up towards 12 million, which is a very decent profit on a single copy run, whereas some of the blueprint copies for components of structures are lapsing from time to time, and there I need to be a bit more competitive in my prices. So it's going decently well, but it's volatile. It takes a little bit of work, a little bit of research to get rid of everything that I'm producing at the moment. Still, some of them, as I've said, are making me a really nice profit though. So it's a bit of a mixed picture at the moment. Next to that, I of course also did my PI and I kept an eye on the market a little bit. And so yesterday during EVE Talk, we noticed a few nice options like the Hecate, which I had bought for 29 and 27 million. And you could easily sell those for 45 million. And of course we have plagues that are still going up substantially, and I sold my first plagues at 1.2 billion. I'm not planning to just unload everything at this price range, but I will keep a close eye on it, and as we go up with maybe 20, 50 million, something like that, I'm gonna put a couple more plagues up there to turn that into liquid ISK. One final warning that I maybe want to give is I watched CCP Fuzzy on an Imperium stream, and the Tech 3 ships, they are all, except now for a couple that have bounced back like the Hecate, but all of them are at 1 year lows, and I feel a bit queasy about what he said about a possible Tech 3 rebalance. So I think that the nerf bat could swing very hard, and so I'm actually going to look for sell opportunities on all the Tech 3 ships that I've got going, and I'm not planning to speculate on that at this point anymore, because I think that the changes for the cruisers could hit them very, very hard. Of course, last week we also had a little bit of cool news, like the drilling platforms that came out, the dev block on the drilling platforms at least, and I like the plan. I definitely like the idea of putting one of those platforms close to a moon and then sucking out or drilling out a chunk of that, turning that into belts. Sounds very interesting, but I am a little bit disappointed that it's only going to go for nullsec. So basically they're one-on-one replacing the moon mining mechanic with this new drilling platform. Again, CCP Fuzzy had quite a bit to say about that during the stream, and they basically want to avoid feature creep at this point when it comes to the drilling platforms. So hopefully they'll make some plans to bring this type of mechanic to wormhole space, definitely, and to highsec as well. I would love to see it there. Next up, we've got Overwatch. So with the launch of the new hero Orisa, a pretty cool tank hero. I did play a decent amount of that. In fact, I've been still playing more Overwatch throughout the entire week, because at the first night it was impossible to grab an Orisa. By the time you were in the game, there was immediately a first player that had grabbed her. Still, it's pretty interesting. I like her as well. I enjoy playing Orisa. You need to basically learn to time your fortification mechanic, and placing the barrier in certain spots is something that we'll need to learn, because there will be certain choke points on certain maps that will greatly benefit from having the shield, the barrier there. So I think she's really pretty damn cool. I think she could use a bit of support, because if she's God of Guard, she actually doesn't have like as much HP as a Roadhog or a Reinhardt, and she doesn't have that mechanic that the final tank, what's her name? The Russian lady, can't really remember the name right now, that basically forces you not to shoot at her anymore when she puts up the shield, because then her DPS goes up. So it's definitely a hero that you want to use when you've got a team that is there to support you. You absolutely want a healer there to help you out. But her weapon is really awesome. I mean, 150 bullets in there that just keep firing for a very long time. It's pretty cool and pretty powerful. Not very accurate, but you know, if someone is standing still for too long, you can definitely mow them down quite effectively. And to my surprise, probably the most interesting mechanic is her alt fire. So a right click on the weapon basically creates an orb that decently slowly flies towards your target. And if it comes close enough to an enemy hero, it's actually going to grab them with a sort of a beam. And then when it lands, it pulls all the heroes that it grabbed into that location. And I think you can right click again to actually pull the trigger on the sphere itself. It's a very, very cool mechanic. It has an enormous potential for teams that know how to play together very well, because you know, oh, we're gonna grab a couple, we need to focus some fire on there, like some missiles from Soldier or Pharah or stuff like that, and it could be quite devastating. It can even pull some of your enemies behind corners and things like that. I enjoyed that quite a lot, and the few times that I was lucky enough to actually grab someone and the team noticed that, we just mowed them down like crazy. So very high potential hero, Orisa, but she does take some getting used to, and it's not that easy when the team is running around doing their stuff all alone. But yeah, a lot of fun with Overwatch, and I look forward to playing some more. And finally we have Banished. I started a new little town in Banished, this time finally with a new idea. So I used to always run with the 12x13 pattern, which is like almost a square. That is really perfect because you can get 6 houses in there. You can also get a storage barn in there so that the inhabitants don't have to go too far to grab some stuff. And it's also perfect for like a 2-man farm and things like that. So you could really keep expanding that pattern as long as you had room to create squares of 12x13. So this time around I'm doing something completely different, but it was inspired by one of the last cities that I'd made, where I had a lot of room on a separate island, and I basically tried to focus around building housing that were very close to a market. So this is almost like the market star or something like that, you could call it. So it's a market, then around that you build a road, and then on all sides you build I think it's 6 houses, yeah, blocks of 6 houses, again very close to each other, and then you expand even further to the side with stuff that you need, like wood chopping, a blacksmith, maybe hospital, schools, things like that. But then inside on the edges of the square, basically on the corners, that's where you can put a little bit of food production at max size, which is what I really do like, and something that I've missed in the 12x13 pattern. I can now build constant 15x15 farms and orchards, and 20x20 places for livestock, which you know, if you have the room for that, you can add that. It's a bit less overwhelming when it comes to having to replace the production on your farms, so that's definitely a big plus. But it also produces less food in general, so you need to focus a little bit more on having more forestries where you put a gatherer and a hunter and things like that. But overall I'm definitely enjoying this new pattern. I think it has a lot of potential to better fill up a map than the 12x13 pattern, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun enjoying a little bit more Banished. It's definitely my go-to game when I need to relax, which at the moment I still need to do a little bit because it is extremely busy at my real life job at the moment. But I'm doing my best to keep everything going, and my future plans, maybe a quick note on that. Next week we will have Diablo 3 Season 10 coming out. I'm at least going to play 1 character to get the rewards for that season. There's the expansion for Stellaris as well, which I'm definitely planning to get together with my brother. We'll play a couple of games, maybe we'll do a recording together, we'll see how that works out. And then of course we have FanFest. A few people that I've read on Reddit are hoping for non-EVE news as well. I'm definitely one of them. I would love to have a bit of an update on Project Nova or something like that, but I have to say Judging from everything that we've seen in the big dev vlog about FanFests, I wouldn't keep my hopes up. I think we should focus on expecting EVE Online related stuff and not so much other stuff. But yeah, the project discovery there, for instance, sounds very interesting. Rather than having to look at cells from the human body, we'll get to look for exoplanets and things like that. So I think it's promising to be a very cool FanFest, and I definitely look forward to catching as much of the stream as I can. That's going to be it for this week, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.